Hello, buddy. My name is Jacob, and welcome to the Epileptic Gamer podcast. So, as of right now, it is August 23rd, and it is the release date of the video game Concord. Or, if you bought it on the Digital Deluxe, you got it 3 days early, or 72 hours early. Don't know how they calculate that. Because sometimes it releases at noon, some games release at 4. It's a whole different thing now. But I bought Concord, so you guys didn't have to. And I am bringing this up in a podcast episode because there's a lot of different, I don't know if I want to say controversy. There's a lot of different takes on what Concord really is. People are calling it an Overwatch clone, which I can see why you'd like to see it called that. A lot of people are saying it's just a Valorant game, where, I'm going to be honest, if you played the game and you compared Valorant and, Concord, it's not that. It's not that in the slightest. Concord, now, if you play it as is, this is launch day, is a very good game. This game has the ability that if they were to introduce the right amount of heroes within the right amount of maps at the right amount of time and you do it correctly, it is a great game. In this game, I can see having a very long lifespan. And now I'm going to get into the big question here. What does that mean exactly? Lifespan is different than sustainability and quality of life. There's a lot of different things there that you got to consider. Quality of life obviously means different game modes, ranked, unranked, and so on. Just stuff that would make the game better. Now, when it comes to sustainability, that means, can this game survive in a marketplace filled with shooters? Personally, that's going to be a question that's going to need a whole lot of worms and this entire, probably a good year to come back and look at it and see what might happen. But can it sustain in the long term? Can we see it as of right now, as of launch day? Will it hold up, and can it be a long-term game? Yes. Yes, it can. I have played maybe good 4 or 5 hours to know, and that's a decent amount of time. Got a bunch of games in to say for a fact that the diverse game of characters that you get. First off, unlike Overwatch, which is free, which is why I can see that people are it's like, Concord is $40 USD compared to Overwatch, which is free. I can see where people are they're on the fence about the whole thing. And that's understandable. Some people don't have the money to shell out $40. You don't have the time to shell out $40. I get that. But Concord compared to Overwatch is not a fair assessment. Overwatch is already established IP. You're not going to beat Overwatch. This game is not meant to be a competitor to Overwatch. You can tell as you boot it up that this game has its own story. Every week is going to be a different story. And it already says Season 1. So they're going to do more than one season of this. This game can be supported. The developers are ready to support the game. Hell, there's even an opening message saying that they're ready to support the game. They're in this game for the long haul. But then again, you can say to yourselves, insert game here has said that and it got cancelled. And you would be right. There are tons of games out there that say, we are determined to go on this for the long haul. And then it just drops. If you want to give me a good example, I can give you one now. AEW Fight Forever. They thought that game would sell like hotcakes. It did for a bit. and now there's like 12 people playing it on Steam. There's a difference between sustainability, quality of life, and how long it can actually last. Concord can last. Concord has the ability to not only just become one of the top dogs, it's not going to ever outsell Call of Duty. You can't touch Call of Duty. Concord is going to be one of those games. I said this when it got announced. You don't believe me? Go back to the episode. I said it when it got announced that Concord is going to be a sleeper. It's going to be one of those games where you're going to need to keep your eye on it because it just might surprise you. Concord did exactly that. I kept my eye on it. I wanted to see what the news was all about because people are going to have different takes. And I'm honestly curious to see what the views are going to be. Personally, as it sits on launch day, I'm giving it a 7 out of 10. It doesn't break the barrier. It doesn't break the mold. But gameplay is fun. There's a wide variety of heroes. I believe it's like 16. Which is very good to start off as a new game. And they're all unlocked. Which is a very good thing. I mean, that's nice to have. And all of them have their own unique abilities. One person has a rocket launcher, which it can lock onto you. But you can easily counter that by someone just long-ranging it with a sniper right to the head. It is a game that if you have the Dream Squad, you can counter any type of play that you have. No matter what, out of the 16 heroes, there is a hero for you. While some of them might play similar to the others, if you can master a certain hero, you will go on a rampage. I have played multiple games as Teo where I've gotten 10 kills or more. I mean, it is, well, not 10 kills, I would say 8. But it is one of those games where if you can use your abilities and use everything to advantage, you can counter everything. And before you say it, it does sound like Overwatch. But you can say that about every other shooter game. Every shooter game is going to sound like Overwatch from now on. Any game that is 5v5 will automatically go, there's Overwatch. And that's just the way it is. And they already announced with Marvel Rivals that all the people will be unlocked when the game gets released. This game has the ability to have a great player base. It's already cross-play on PC and PlayStation 5 on launch. I don't know if there's any plans to put it on Xbox, but if you put it on Xbox, you can have a shitload more fun too. There is so much that you can do with this game. And it has full controller support on not just a Xbox controller on PC, but with a DualSense controller. Not a whole lot of games can say that. And while you need a Sony account to play on PC, I mean, that's easy to make. You can make that in 5 minutes. It's simple. The game is fun. You should not dismiss Concord just because you look at Overwatch and say, oh, well, I got Overwatch and that's free. No, you shouldn't do that. That's not fair. That's not a fair shot because you could be missing out on a great game. And I'm curious to see how well Concord does over the weekend. Because it releases on a Friday. I'm curious to see what the spike is going to be. See where we're going to be at. But what my verdict is that I absolutely think out of 10, I'd give this game a solid 7. It, like I said, it will never be able to be a mold breaker. This game was not meant to be a mold breaker. But for what it is a great shooter game. It is a great team-up game. And it isn't Valorant, which is even better. Because it's not made to be Valorant. It's its own entity. It's not Overwatch because it's not made to be Overwatch. And that's what people need to get through their thick, damn skulls. The sooner you say to yourselves, Concord isn't Overwatch, the sooner you're going to enjoy Concord. Or the sooner you're going to enjoy Overwatch over Concord. Because if you don't say, oh, well, Concord is not the same as Overwatch, that just ruins everything for the entire gaming landscape. And I don't know if this review is still up on Steam, but there's even a Steam review right now that gave it a negative review because they have the people's pronouns in the game. Which means this game is going to get review bombed. Because why? People are idiots. That's just how it is. I mean, I hate to say it, but people are idiots. So, where does this leave us? This leaves Concord in a very interesting spot. They have, I guess you could say, a golden opportunity of sorts. You have something that is fresh, straight out of the oven, and you're releasing on a weekend. Not a whole lot is coming out this month. And leading in September, a whole lot more is. I think the only game that came out recently was Black Myth Wukong. And that, well, it's going to be probably an 86. I think they gave that an 86, 84. I think Concord is going to get like a 60 on the Metacritic scale. And that's Metacritic just being Metacritic. But at a user scale, I personally think it should be like a 75. I can see it getting a 75, probably a 77. But knowing critics, how they have to judge everything, compare everything, probably a 65. I don't see it getting below 60. Concord is a great game. It is. Like, if you want to look at it this way, and you want to say, okay, what are the game modes like? That's probably the best way where we're going to start, because, as always, if you played Call of Duty, and like every other shooter, they have Team Deathmatch, which you have. Like every other shooter, they have a game where you take a kill, like just like Call of Duty, and you gotta go get their dog tags, or in this case, a card. That's kill confirmed from Call of Duty. Every other shooter game has something like that. Now, Concord, of course, has that, because that brings into your casual audience. But here's where they stray away a bit. They have a variation of what is domination from Call of Duty. And this is not Overwatch's. This is where they stray away from Overwatch, and I give them props in doing it. They lean into Call of Duty, but they're not Call of Duty in a way. They have a variation of Overwatch where you need, in order to have any type of score, you need to have 2 points going on. Which means, even if you were to get the checkpoint A, it doesn't matter. If someone has checkpoint C, you need to get B. The only way you get scored on the board is if you have 2 points. And if they get contested, your score stops. It has to be unanimous, non-touched. That's not a whole lot what people are saying. Call of Duty, if you just have 2 flags in domination, they're going to let you go. They're going to let you keep scoring. Not this. No, you need to go and fight. You can't just sit down and say, oh, well, let's hope for the best. No. You have to go and clear out the objective. And if you see that A is a lost cause, you gotta go to C. If you see B is a lost cause, you gotta go to A. You gotta fight. This is fast-paced action. And I give them props for that. They found a way to keep the game going. I have not had a single game isolated in one area of the map. I've noticed that the teams rotate throughout the map because of the way they relate that game. It is an ingenious way of doing it. It is a great way of breaking up teams as well. If you are so focused on 2 points with 5 people, people can pick you apart. And that is a good thing if you're working as a team, because you can walk all over the other team. But if you're not, it's also a shitty thing. So they have a nice balance there. And then they also bring in another game mode. And they took out one from the beta, which I thought was interesting. In the beta, they had a game mode where you would clear out somebody and bang, it's gone. Maybe this is I may not have it yet. This could be in the non-respawn modes. But in the beta, they had it so if you were to kill someone and you were able to get the checkpoint, it's done. That round is over. I could be wrong in saying that this could be in the non-respawn modes. And I just may not have it yet. But the game modes that you're available to right off the bat is ultimately just domination with one person, with one flag. It's not capture the flag. It's not that whole big list of things that you're going to see in Call of Duty. It's 4 game modes from the start, and you unlock 2 more when you hit level 6. And it's going to be fun. And you don't have to, there's no store. You unlock stuff for characters that you want to unlock just by playing the game. You use a certain character, you want to use that certain character, you want to get that stuff for that character, select that character. Play as that character, rank up that character, and guess what's going to happen? You're going to get stuff for that character. Unlike Overwatch, where you have to have battle passes to get different stuff for different skins, where you may not see that skin anymore at a certain time. Concord has the ability to sit out on its own. And I'm looking forward to see how it goes. Because today is launch day. I'm curious to see what the next month is going to take us. Or even as this weekend. Because if it does well, I could see this being one of the sleeper games of the year. Maybe one of the best, not best multiplayer. That's a little bit much. But I can see it being in the running. Because multiplayer is a lot of fun. You're like, oh, well, it's the only thing that's there. It's not. There's time trials too, which I haven't even touched. But they look like they're fun. It's such a diverse cast. I highly recommend it. Even if you're going to wait for it to be on sale, it's $40. If that's not enough for you, you can wait for it to go on sale and it'll probably be $20. I recommend it. I can't recommend it enough. Because it is such a sleeper game, like I said it was going to be. And it even got very good, very positive scores on Steam. As of last night. As of me posting this, which is 9:20 a.m. is when I'm going to be uploading it, I don't know. That could have changed. But one thing is for certain. This next upcoming month, September specifically, is going to be interesting. Let's see how well Concord can hold on its own. See what it looks like in this upcoming week. Because if it holds its own, it can be a great game. And I think they have the ability to make a great game. But that is all for this episode, because I'm hitting the 20-minute mark and I try to stay below it. So that's all for this episode of the Epileptic Gamer podcast. Thank you guys all for joining me. Check out my YouTube channel if you want to comment and talk about this episode or other episodes in the past. You can just go to that said episode and talk about it. And I will do my best to respond to you if I get a chance. I will see you all in the next episode. Bye-bye.